Hey guys, welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Today's part 2 of the TRX upgrades. We're going to be looking at paint and how to do that. So I've already got my body here and I'm going to do my best to kind of try to hold the camera and do this a little more vlog style. Who knows how well that's going to work because this camera, despite it being very small, is already hurting my arm. Okay, so what you need first of all obviously is the body, and there it is. You can see I've already masked out the windows. That's part of the clear body kit from Traxxas. One thing I should mention, notice that the body comes pre-cut for all the holes for mounting all the bits. And, you know, like that is kind of cool. I mean, there's a lot of holes there that I've added for the Night Customs Shapeways parts, but it's kind of nice to know that they're already kind of taking the time to kind of help you out. I mean, obviously this truck body is only for the TRX, so they obviously assume that you're just going to be using the TRX4, and they've got all the holes kind of pre-cut, which is very nice. Okay, so what you're going to need to do your own custom paint job, and I mean, obviously, you know, you guys have seen these types of videos before. It's not anything new, but you're going to need masking tape, a hobby blade, some sort of marking device. I've got a Sharpie there, and then photo references. So there now you can see the inspiration that I'm taking. This is from Cool and Vintage. That's their Defender, and they use that in a lot of promotional material. It's a nice looking Defender. Very simple though. You'll notice that it's just white and then a 4-color stripe along the bottom there. Not crazy, not difficult to replicate with rattle cans and Scotch tape, but it's definitely going to be kind of my own, because I'm adding this logo here, and I'm not going to tell you what it's from. And ooh, you should actually probably look at it. Well, you should look at it that way. It's a TA. You know, double extra points if you can figure out what that logo is from. Well, I'll give you a hint. It's from a movie. That's it. That's all I can give you. But the reason that that's printed that way is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace it onto the body, onto this part of the body right here. So you can't put it the right way. You can't print it out the normal way, because what you're going to do is you're going to actually take this and you're going to put it on this way. And see, you can see that's how it's going to look on the outside of the body. But in order to get that the right direction, you've got to trace it onto the masking tape on the inside the wrong way around. Oh my gosh. So, okay, simplified, just print it out backwards or a horizontal flip. And then you tape it to the outside of the body and trace it through the inside. There's 2 different ways of doing this. And one way is with masking tape, which I haven't done in a long time. The other way is with liquid mask. Liquid mask I've used a bunch, but I find that it doesn't hold up to a lot of layers. Because I'm doing 7 different colors, I want to use something that I know is going to hold up. And this tape is a special type of Scotch tape. It's code 2367, and that was given to me by Hemistorm. So if he uses it, it must be good. If you're creating a logo and you want it to be nice and sharp and crisp, you're going to want to use a light box. I don't have one, so I'm going to have to do my best to kind of see through the masking tape and then see the logo behind it. It's not optimal. Maybe if I had like a flashlight or something handy, I could use that. We're going to see how it goes, because this is my first time using masking tape in a very long time. A couple of things to make sure of when you start taping out your body. You want to make sure that you've already done a really good job of cleaning the inside of the body. I use a little bit of dish soap, like just a drop of dish soap, and a clean rag to wash out the inside with a little bit of hot water. Just because when they make these bodies, they use what's called a release agent, and it's kind of greasy and it's kind of gross, and even though you can't see it, there's a subtle film on the whole inside of the body. So you want to make sure you remove that before you do any painting, otherwise you might have some trouble with adhesion. Anytime you're painting a Lexan body, make sure you're using Tamiya PS polycarbonate paint. You don't want to use the TS stuff. It won't stick and you'll hate yourself later. For this specific build and this body, these are the colors I used here. Also, make sure that whenever you're handling a Lexan body, that your hands are nice and clean. You don't want to have grease on your hands or any kind of oils. So best to wash your hands first before you get started. So I'm sort of haphazardly taping away here. Always make sure you use something like this. This is a burnishing tool, and what it allows you to do is get right in nice and tight on those areas there you may have a bit of some holes or some gaps. So this helps kind of push it down. You can use the soft end for going into the edges just like that. And it just makes sure that you've got no air holes and you've got no gaps, especially around the edges of the tape, because that's where there's going to be bleed. And the best way to prevent that is to use one of these. Okay, so now you can see that I've taped out the whole body. It's not exactly the most accurate taping job, but it gets the job done. You want to make sure that you've got every surface covered. That way there's no chance you're going to spill or overspray some of that paint into something that you didn't intend, because once you've got it on Lexan, it's really hard to get it off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tracings for my logos, and I'm going to find a place where I want to put them. I'm going to tape them to the outside like so, and then I'm going to go inside and I'm going to trace that logo out with a sharp hobby blade in the tape. And then so once you've got it placed, go to the inside, and if you can see that, which you can see pretty easily, now you have something that you can use to trace out. And all you do is trace out that shape, cutting all of the shapes out, and you just peel that back, spray. That's all there is to it. The most important element of any Lexan paint job is to make sure that you paint the darkest colors first. Because if you, let's say for example, you decide to paint black last. Well, any of the details and any of the brighter colors that you're using, say white, silver, yellow, orange, any of those colors are going to be affected by the background layer that you're using, hence darkening that color. So let's stay away from that entirely. Always go darkest to lightest. After all that taping, cutting, and painting, this is where we're at. So as you can see, I've done a nice little kind of sunset stripe there on the sides, as inspired by that cool and vintage Defender that I saw on Instagram. And I've also included a Night Customs logo. That required a fair bit of taping, and it's not at all what I was intending originally when I started the video. You actually saw me taping and cutting out a different logo, and that logo was a fake airline from the movie Airplane, which is certainly dating me as an old guy, but one of my favorite comedies of all time. Some great lines in that movie, and if you haven't seen it, you should check it out because it's hilarious. And so yeah, so that is a combination of red and the backing white, of course, and a thin, I don't know if you can even see it, thin strip of silver around the outside of the shield. And just wanted to give it some separation from the rest of the body. That's pretty much the intention there. And you'll notice that I didn't bother to tape out that window, and I opted to kind of like make it sort of like a flat panel. I'm gonna add some stickers in this area here, some decals probably of some, you know, performance parts or whatnot. But these windows have been masked off, and I am intending to use an interior piece, which I will show you now. And there it is. That's the PL-C interior clear body for 110 crawlers. And instantly you're going to probably say, but wait a second, that's not a Defender interior. And yes, you're right, it's not, but it is a 4-door interior with an SUV style back part there. So for all intents and purposes, this is just fine for the Defender, because it's not very deep, but it's deep enough that it gives some, you know, three-dimensional elements and helps kind of make it look like an actual truck on the inside instead of seeing all the electronics. That's part of the reason I whited out the windows in the back, so I can totally get away from having to worry about how long or short this interior piece is. It's really just a matter of working with what I had, and you know, I think it'll kind of give it a unique look anyway. So for the rest of this video, we're going to focus on getting those Night Customs parts installed on this body, And, you know, rather than watching me do this for an hour, I'm going to set up a time lapse so you can sort of see it in super fast, ultimate time.
Get on it. Done. It's star time. It's not Ladies and gentlemen, bass.
Okay, so you can see that the installation of the Night Customs pieces went really well. Not a lot of trouble there. I mean, you do all the prep properly and you're going to have a great result once you've taken some time and put everything together. And you can see that the majority of the stickers are on as well. Just kind of a simple kind of look, you know, and you see here that I'm sure you saw in the time lapse. What I did was I took the outside overprint of all the window stickers that Traxxas include with the body and made them into gaskets, or like the window frame. So, you know, it kind of has like a nicer, cleaner look to it. With the overspray film off, you can really kind of see how the colors are really popping. It's got a great look, nice and crisp graphics, thanks to that tape provided to me from Hemistorm. Thank you very much, sir. Overall, it's looking really good. I mean, a little bit of shoe goo goes a long way on these parts. You don't need to put a lot on. You can see on the inside of the body, there isn't very much holding these pieces on, but it's enough that it will stay on. I love the recessed look too. You know, some people have put those on the other way. I think this is a much cleaner look. Overall, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at so far. The next step is to reinstall all of the body pieces that came with the original body. Rubber fenders, all those little bits and pieces. That's where we're going to go next with this, so stay tuned. 1 second. Okay, so here's where we stand. You can see that all the pieces from the original body went back on without any trouble. The Night Customs pieces look amazing. Really happy with how they turned out. You can see that I've also installed the Night Customs front, the Night Customs wipers, and I've also, in the front here, installed a set of Power Shift RC's TRX4 light buckets. And these are all LEDs and are supposedly quite bright. I haven't powered them up yet, but pretty keen to see what those look like. It comes with the sets for the front. You get the headlight and one of the running lights, and also the rears, which are there. Night Customs logo looks awesome on the back there. Just a few sponsor stickers, and they're not, you know, not actual sponsor stickers, but Castle, BF Goodrich, Crawler Innovations, and KMC wheels. Speaking of the wheels, you can see that I've got black rings and red rings. Why don't you guys post up in the comments and tell me... Why don't you guys post up in the comments and tell me which ones look better? I'm sort of on the fence. I don't really know, and I'd love to get your input. So tell me, black rings or red rings? Thanks. Adding these Night Customs elements really helped make this thing look 10 times better than it did coming out of the box. I'm pretty chuffed by how it all turned out, and keen to get it outside for some nice outdoor photography. In the final episode, we're going to make that interior piece come to life, and that's probably going to end up doing it for this one, if I'm honest. I've got a few more pieces from Night Customs on the way, just to sort of help fill out, the roof rack, and we're going to switch out the plastic fuel cans on the back for Night Customs version, and we're just going to kind of keep adding pieces here and there to make it a little more scale accurate. I know it's still Lexan body, but a few of these 3D printed pieces are really going to help bring it to life. Thanks a lot for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Cheers.